Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What has happened in the crypto space? A lot, apparently. I decided to go on a little extended break and we decide that we are going to the moon and we're going back to Earth. And you know what time it is when the shades go on. It's time to talk about crypto, and that's exactly what we'll do today.
We're escaping the matrix. Me and my way. We're escaping the matrix.
GM, G fucking M. It is another beautiful week. It's a Monday. I think the last time we left off it was also a Monday. I don't actually remember. We haven't done this in some time. First of all, GM. It's good to be back. See new surroundings. Old cup, but new cup for the videos. Crashes are always opportunities. So what are we going to do today? First off, I want to explain what is actually happening here. Why is everything down the drain in macroeconomic terms? Because there's actually quite a few reasons why what we are seeing here is in the realm of normality, even though we are talking about quite a lot of percentages. So that's the first part of this video. In the second part, where we have the laptop right here, we will be looking at some charts. Today we'll only talk about Bitcoin. I'll make another video about altcoins as well, because I think those should be very separate, because we'll have a lot to talk about Bitcoin already, and then I don't want to fill it up with altcoins as well. That video will maybe drop tomorrow, later this week, we'll see. Technical analysis on TradingView, see some key levels. Where do I think we are going? Well, what would be logical, what has happened? Because we do not predict price here. We follow rhythms, we follow the market, that's what we do. And then on a third part of today's video, I'll be giving my personal outlook, what has changed for my strategy, and how I will be positioning myself over the next couple of weeks, months to come. And I hope that the sun is not disturbing too much. See, even beautiful day today, even the sun is coming up. Because Mimo is back. So let's get into the macroeconomic factors. So why? You know, you see these markets dump from 124k all the way here on the Bybit chart. I see what was here the low. The low was 80,607. That's quite a hefty drop. So why? Well, what did we have ever since? I think the last video was in June. Bunch of FOMO regarding Fed rate cuts, FOMCs, and for the most part we have gotten what we wanted. Already after the first Fed meeting, I was like, I don't really know about this anymore, because we dropped heavily, and I also positioned myself short just after the meeting of the second meeting. And now in the second meeting, Fed Chair Jerome Powell talked extremely negatively, or well, not negatively, but he talked neutral about rate cuts in December. And I don't know if you remember, but 3 rate cuts was basically priced in the markets. And when obviously one of these pillars falls away, then a lot of people are like, hey, I don't want my money in this anymore. What was guaranteed isn't happening anymore, so I want to pull out. Now you combine that with another big thing, the JPY bonds. So Japanese government bonds, especially 20 and 30 years, the interest rate has spiked. For that, I'll quickly explain you something that is happening in financial markets, been happening for decades, the yen carry trade. So basically what institutions and big whales did was lend Japanese yen, because you could get them at a very, very low interest rate. Then you would take this money, turn it into US dollars, and put it into capital gains markets, stocks, bonds, government bonds of the US even. And the returns that you got were basically free, because you essentially didn't pay any interest on the yen. So when this changes, of course, a lot of liquidity leaves the market. And crypto relies on liquidity like no other market. No market is as relying on liquidity as crypto. So obviously, when that changed, the market also suffered quite heavily from that. And yeah, then we are just in this self-fulfilling prophecy part of the 4-year cycle. You remember, I think I talked about this in one of my very first videos, the 4-year cycle, which is in accordance with the Bitcoin halving, where you usually have 1 year that is being accumulative, 2 years that are very good, 2024 and 2025, and then a corrective year. And then you start this all over again. Now 2023 was very much an accumulative year. 2024, even if You know, on crypto Twitter, everyone wants to tell you, oh, we haven't even been in a bull market. Bitcoin has gone from 15,000 US dollars to 124,000. Coins like Solana have gone from $23, $6 at once to almost 300. That's basically a 50x. Like, how much of a bull market do you want to see? You know, the times of 1000x's are just over. So this is as good of a bull market as you'll get. And you know, now people are obviously fearing that this is still in play and everything, and that next year is going to be a corrective year. So people start selling and selling and selling. But that's just the macroeconomic factors that surround all of this. Let's get into what really matters, and that's, in my opinion, right now, the charts. So let's hop onto the charts and let's see what we are shown here. So if you see this, I have a weekly chart open of Bitcoin. And here's something very interesting that I want to show you, which is the EMA lines 12 and 21. That's the two lines here that have been green for basically always, except for the JPY collapse scare. I mean, there was almost the same reason, huh? And there they were red-ish for a week, but I mean, that got bought up right away. And this is the beginning of the bull market. So when those bands turned green, the bull market really began. I mean, where were we here? We were on February 13th of 2023, and this was like around $20,000. And also here this is even before FTX, right? Where they went red and started the bear market of 2022, essentially. So these lines, they do tend to be a respectable indicator. Now, I made a tweet about this, so follow me on Twitter because there has been some good alpha while I was gone here on YouTube, at IMemeAway. The self-plug is incredible. There, last week already posted this. And of course there I said that the indicator focuses on candle closes and we need to wait for this basically last week, so yesterday's close. And yeah, as expected, we did not go back up to recover. Which means that we are now potentially actually in bear market territory. Also, some structure, this structure level here, which was 1010, October 10th, obviously the big liquidations, if you remember, which in my opinion also has something to do with this, but we know nothing for sure right now, so we're not going to, well, all we do is speculate in financial markets, but we're not going to speculate on anything else but price. That was a key level to look at, and breaking below that also gave me additional confirmation. Also, the 50 EMA week. If you can see, this also has been respected heavily. This year was the April tariff scare, or March, if I remember correctly. Yes, we respected it quite well. We wicked down below it shortly, but we also respected it upon closes. Here we touched it exactly, which was 10th of March. This must be when Trump rug pulled his first Trump coin, whatever. Here also on the JPY collapse, we respected it. Germany selling, we respected with closes. And obviously a close below it could only mean at least short-term bearishness. Now, you see this little green zone that I have drawn out here. That to me is an absolute buy zone. If we are going to continue an upward movement. I also have bought here. I've bought at 84,000, I've bought at 86,000. I think one of my orders was filled at 82,000. I don't think I was fully spot filled because obviously, you know, this is the perpetual futures contract chart and sometimes the spot price is a bit different. I think I was filled though on that as well. Actually, how do you not know this? I think I was filled. And I have some more orders down here at 78, 77 and 76. Why exactly there, and what is this white line here to do with it? Well, uptrending markets do not close below previous lows, okay? So we should not see a break of this level if we were to go up further. This buy zone here is so good for me because we're also near the 100 EMA line, which is now the next obviously level on the weekly chart for us to look at. And therefore I've bought here. I would really not want to see a close below the 74k level because in all honesty, let me get a arrow, path, I want a path. Actually, let me explain first what consolidation is. Because I think that we could easily see something like this, where we pull back into this, test this, go back down here, everybody thinks it's over, Shortly out of it, boom, really everybody thinks it's over, and then we just chop, 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 chop. And then eventually we go back up at late 27 or something. And this is obviously not me predicting price, but this is a path that I could imagine. Why could I imagine this? Well, people are not wrong when they say that the 4-year market cycles have changed, because we have new big players, we have institutions, we have massive whales selling, we have just a whole new market dynamic in crypto, and Bitcoin will be affected of that most, I think. So what if markets have just become quicker? What if we are just going through shorter bull markets but shorter bear markets as well, and more consolidation? Well, then I could easily see that we consolidate in my buy zone here and we go right back up. Consolidation is one of two things. It's either accumulation or it's distribution. If it's accumulation, then it's preparing a move up. If it is distribution, I would say that this here, this whole where can we draw this out? Come on, good. Bit laggy always on that. I would say that this, let's for the understanding also color it red then. This is a distribution zone, okay? We consolidated, okay, here was a little breakout. Neglectable in my opinion in the bigger picture. But this was distribution. Now, in hindsight, that is obviously very, very simple to say. We cannot say that this consolidation could not also mean that after that we're going down. It could be more distribution. We could just find a new distribution level. But generally markets, once they have done what Bitcoin has done here, I mean, we're not talking about a small dip here. We're talking about, on the wick, we're talking about like 35%, 36%. That's not a small dip, okay? Once they have done that, that leaves behind many inefficiencies, as you can see, also a couple of fair value gaps. Let me actually turn the volume off. This is, I think, a bit disturbing. It depends a lot on what the global markets say, because global markets, if you look at stocks, it doesn't look much, much better. Markets are scared of a recession, and probably rightly so. And if we're in a recession, then, well, actually, we'll talk about that in my outlook, because I have quite a hot take maybe on recession. But let's stay on price for a bit, because I want to show you the unfortunate reality, or well, not reality, but the unfortunate possibility that we all don't want to talk about. Now, obviously this wouldn't go in a straight line, but we would see this, if we would see a close below this at one point, then I think we would get a retest, and then the next level doesn't even stop here. I'll stop it now because the thing is, wait, no, it does stop here. I'm tweaking. Then I think we are going to the 0.618 Fibonacci level. This is the Fibonacci's here, they are from the entire cycle. This is something that I could see happen. Bitcoin is an asset that is very cyclical, and Fibonacci retracements for cyclical assets are quite decent levels to look at. Now, obviously, you know, we're not going to 57,731.2 and then we are, you know, shooting right up to the negative 0.2 or whatever. But then we would accumulate here, maybe dip down below it a bit, maybe get this liquidity right here that I could also mark out. This was from Germany selling as well, wasn't it? Yeah, also something is crazy. Where we can also look at that. Do we have time? I think we have time today, huh? As I said, a close below this level means very, very bad stuff for Bitcoin. So really, everything above it is a gift. And about my accumulation strategies, I'll talk more in the outlook, as I said. But this is really one of the levels that you want to look at. And then everything between the 0.382 level here in the Fib retracement and the 0.5, which marks my buy zone, is, in my opinion, really important. Everything here is important. Not losing 80,000, actually not going below 80,000 also is, in my opinion, very underestimated currently in crypto Twitter. Because this would have, like, here we're talking about closes that we could have been below as well. And obviously you might say, oh, but like you're saying it could go up and down right now. Yeah, because nobody, I mean, do you see the glass bowl in front of me, the crystal bowl? Nobody knows right now. And that's generally where opportunities arise. If nobody is certain, then taking a certain risk is oftentimes higher reward to less risk. Because let's face it, Bitcoin is not going down in a straight line to 50K, right? So my buy here is already, for me, that's a good buy. Because if we are going up again, we are looking at very, very good returns here. Let's see, what if we went from here to all-time high? Yeah, that would be 46%, 45%, which is mesmerizing, right? Show me an asset that does this. And if it goes down more, then we keep on buying. We average down. Daily, because I wanted to show you something which isn't all too bullish. I like being bullish, but... So we had the whole Germany selling started like here in June, if I remember correctly. This was everything, like this was Germany, this was Germany, alone the fact, like Germany is not historically known to make immensely good financial decisions. So why the fuck do we panic just because Germany decides to sell Bitcoin? Regardless, we had an initial drop down. Then we see, oh cool, we're going back up, and boom, back down, which obviously was also correlated with this black, what was it? Was it Black Monday? I think it was Black Monday. Yeah, almost Black Monday of where the Japanese yen, or well, Japan was already like at the verge of collapsing, and we somehow saved it with God knows how. So we could very well just see a pullback and then another drop into this zone before we go higher. So it's still not like the biggest reason to be bullish, but if you want to accumulate Bitcoin, now is obviously a good time. Everything below 100K is a good time. Now let's get to my outlook. Yeah, we could be in a major bear, we could be at the beginning of a major bear market. That could definitely happen. But to me, it is important to note that when you look at the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, in their first couple of decades even, well, Nasdaq not decades, but Nasdaq first 10 years, that shit was volatile as well. And it went up and down like crazy because it was new and people were like, nah, do I trust this? Do I want this? Do I really need it? Is this going to be the future? Is this where you want to have your money? Well, yes. If you had bought the S&P 500 in its first 10 years, yeah, congratulations. You wouldn't sit here and watch no YouTube videos from somebody in rave shades yapping about crypto. You'd be sitting somewhere much different. And that's what I think generally about crypto right now. We're in a massive accumulation phase. And yes, a lot of things have to pan out in the perfect way. But if this is going to be a part of the future, which I genuinely believe it's going to be, and not just Bitcoin, but major alts, such as Solana, such as Ethereum. For me, also Sui. I don't really have a reason for it now, but you know, sometimes you just have a feeling about things, and many other altcoins that can generate revenue. That to me is part of the future. And every dip that I can get, I'll buy. I'm in a very good position. I have started accumulating my Solana, for example, at $23. Bitcoin at the time was at like, I think there I got in at like sub 30K as well. I got in when Germany sold. That's basically where my biggest buys in Bitcoin come from. I'm not in this industry for so long, but yet I'm up this much because I got in when people were scared of it. And for me, this year marks just another opportunity to buy. Do I have my whole net worth in crypto and like I'm completely reliant on this? No. But I have a very big proportion of it in it because I really believe in this. And I think when something like this happens, what we've seen over the last couple of days, weeks, you see who is not meant to be in this industry. Because if you don't believe in this, you will not survive this. You will have sold already. And then you're not going to be in this industry for long anyways. If you're in here for the quick returns, then you're a trader and trading is okay, but then you cannot expect Bitcoin to reward you like it has rewarded people that have been in it since $1. You have to imagine, there are people that bought this thing at $1 and that sold just like a couple of weeks ago. Some of the biggest whales sold, and you're like, these people saw this shit go to 3K, then saw it go drop back down by almost 80%. These people believed in it. They believed in something. They stuck to it. And I think that is what makes you in this industry. And if you can see accumulation phases for what they are, and they do establish, then you will be rewarded big time. And that's also why I'm buying, and I have many more orders to be filled. On Bitcoin, I'm DCAing up. My average is coming up as I'm buying. And as I've said, there's levels where I will, sell most of it and have some left as a good memory when I really think it's over. We are very, very far from that. But for the rest, I'm not even contemplating selling any of my Bitcoin sub $500,000. And that may be delusion, but some people have to be delusional as well. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about to get this on a bit more serious note again, and not just delusional bullishness. A global recession. What if we come into a global recession? Well, I think that will be very, very interesting times for crypto. Because right now, we're shifting onto a risk-off market, which we see because stocks are also selling off. And in a risk-off market, actually something like Bitcoin should gain in value, because Bitcoin is supposed to be a store of wealth, which it, however, is currently not trading as. And if we get into a global recession, I think that's where we generally will see if people accept the Bitcoin as a store of wealth. Why? Well, Bitcoin hasn't seen a recession market. Bitcoin has been around, as I did a paper on this, 2009, I think. October 2009 was when the white paper was released, if I'm correct. The last big recession was 2008, right? That was the last very bad market. You could talk about COVID, but that was like a week where everything dropped and everything bounced back up right away. Same for Bitcoin and Ethereum as well and else. But to see Bitcoin perform in a recession market, to see if people are like, hey, well, we used to buy gold in these markets, now we could just buy Bitcoin, that would, be very, very interesting to see how it trades as. If people see it as a store of wealth or not. I'm short-term by no means bullish. Well, very, very short-term, I think we should see some bounces with these markets. But yeah, mid-term, I think down, accumulating, relaxing, taking some of the money and we need to see where we're going with the future. And long term, over the next decades, that to me is where I want to have my money and what I believe in and what I see going to the absolute moon. At the end of the day, this is just my humble opinion. Obviously, none of this is investment advice and you should not take this as financial advice whatsoever. This is just my humble opinion. I also just see numbers on the screen, just like you. I think this bull run was amazing. I think we can now say that this bull run has an end, because I don't think we're going to shoot up straight to all-time highs again. That's the least likely in my opinion. The question is just, where do we start the accumulation consolidation again? But yeah, believe in the orange pill, believe in altcoins, position yourself accordingly, and I'll see you in another video. GM.
Shorty in the bed, yeah, big tis too. Crypto king, I don't miss money too long, got the world on my wrist. Solana up, Bitcoin lit, land